said, I'm leaving here with something or somebody, because homegirl got more connections than a little bit. Welcome to my channel. We're here. We break down reality TV shows with laughter and reenactments, all while giving it to you straight with no chaser. Because we don't just watch TV around here, we get into the things of the things. So sit back and relax. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hey y'all, it's Chloe and we're back with another video. Love is Blind Season 10, Episode 1 and maybe 2. Maybe. We'll play it by ear and see how this goes, okay? But y'all, I'm so excited to get into this season because, baby, we got some things to get into. But before we do, if this is your first time here, sit back, relax, watch the video through. And if you like what you see and you like what you hear, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If y'all one of my lovely members or subscribers, hey y'all, how y'all doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. And I'm hoping that Ohio makes us proud. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed, okay? Because y'all know that this could get messy real fast. Real fast, real fast. Nonetheless, we got some things to get into, so let's just go ahead and get into it. So, of course, Nick and Vanessa are back. They said they don't care what y'all got to say on the internet. Y'all not about to bully them up out of hosting no matter how bad they are, okay? But I will say that Vanessa looked real good in that dress. Homegirl was wearing that dress. But as y'all already know, the pods are now open. Ohio, make us proud. So we meet Jordan. He's 33 and he's in software sales. He said that his biggest misconception is that people think that he's like a big oaf, okay? But he's not. He actually likes art, he loves to read, and he's a pretty good cook. Now, the first person he's talked to is Amber, and they both are starting to connect because they both foodies. They both also love to cook. Amber said that she has a 7-year-old daughter who she cooks for, especially breakfast, so that's her favorite meal. Now, I think Amber might be onto something because she said that she cooks all the holiday meals. So I'm like, Amber, you must know how to cook because people ain't gonna trust you with the holiday meals unless you can cook for real, okay? But in the conversation that Amber was having with Jordan, we found out that she has a 7-year-old daughter. And she's telling him that although she was struggling, her daughter would never really know because she made sure to pour a lot of love into her. And that's what's most important. Now, Amber is 33 and she told us, I can't be with no country bumpkin. I got a child to take care of. You got to come with some things. You got to come with some things, okay? But it's most important that the man that she gets with wants a family, especially because, you know, it's her and her daughter. Now, the next person we meet is Victor. And Victor goes by Vic. And he's talking to Christine, who is a speech language pathologist. Now, let me tell y'all something about Vic, okay? Let me tell y'all something about Vic because Vic is fine, okay? Now, he's 33. He's tall, handsome, black, all the things, okay? Now, he said that he's been wanting to be married for a long time now, but he's been searching for love in all the wrong places. That man is fine. That's all I got. No notes. No notes. But nonetheless, he's talking to Christine, and Christine also wants to be married as well. She's telling him that she wants love, she wants a partner, and she wants to have kids. She wants the fairy tale white picket fence. She wants to be the Super Bowl house where she hosts the parties, the families come over, the kids are playing. That's her fairy tale ending. These two seem to be hitting it off right from the beginning, okay? The next person we meet is Jessica. Jessica is 38 and she's an internal medicine doctor. Now, Jessica runs a tight ship, okay? Because she said, let me tell you something. I don't care how gorgeous you are. As soon as you say something stupid or as soon as you start talking crazy, you gotta go. You're no longer gorgeous. I want nothing to do with you. And I'm here for all of that, okay? Now, she's talking to Chris and she's telling Chris how she was working in a hospital during COVID. She's really opening up to him really, really early. And she's telling him how she was just sitting there watching people die. And in the midst of that conversation, she also brings up the fact that she's divorced. And when she says she's divorced, I say, yeah, whoever she was married to didn't have the emotional capacity to be able to deal with her and all the things that she was dealing with at that time. And that's exactly what she said. She said when she would come home, she would be telling him what was happening. She would be expressing her emotions and her feelings. And he would just be like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. The information you giving me, I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. She really didn't feel supported. She didn't feel like he was her safe space. And although he was a really, really good guy, they just didn't have the same idea on what marriage and what a spouse role is in their relationships. So she had to let it go. She said that she did learn a lot about herself and she found who she really is. And she's ready to share the person she found with somebody. I said, I know that's right. I know that's right, because although a person could be good, they could just not be good for you. And I'm glad that she let it go when she did, because hey, Who knows? Maybe her husband is here. Maybe it's Chris. Speaking of Chris, so we officially get introduced to Chris, who is 32 and he's in software sales. He is adventurous. He loves being active. He loves doing all the things of the things, okay? But now he's in the pods with Bree. And Bree is 33 and she's a product developer, okay? Now the producers asked Bree, why Love is Blind? Why are you here? She said, shoot, how much time do we have? Can we make this a therapy session? I said, absolutely not. Immediately, no. We don't have time for that. Do not come in here trauma dumping. We don't need a trauma dump. Some of the things that these people been through, they need to have worked through some of it already, okay? Because we don't need these people in here trauma bonding. We don't need that. But nonetheless, she said that love is deeper than just the physical. She said her friends joke all the time about how, they be dating medium ugly guys. And the medium ugly guys will have the audacity to go ahead and break their hearts. Because who do you think you are? You're medium ugly. You have the audacity. And let me tell you something about a man. Whether he is fine, medium ugly, whatever you want to consider him, they going to have the audacity. They going to have the audacity, point blank, period, okay? But she just don't understand that because, I gave you a chance and you messed it up and you're not even all of that. So now Bree is in the pods with Connor and these two seem to really be hitting it off, okay? I'm not going to hold you. The conversation was flowing. And Connor was giving her stars after stars after stars because that's his thing. He gives the girls stars. Now, Connor told us that he is looking for his ride or die. And I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. We don't want to ride and die in 2020 anything, okay? We want to ride. We want to rest. We want to sit pretty. We don't have time to be dying. Okay, but he said that he's looking for his partner, someone he could do everything with, whether that's going to karaoke or whether that's just Netflix and chilling. Whatever the case may be, he just wants his partner. Now, he's talking to Emma now, and he's giving her stars as well. Why? Because her name is Emma, and he likes the name. I said, well, Connor, you star happy because you was just giving Bree all the stars, and Emma just get one because that's her name? I don't know how good your system is, sir. I really don't. But nonetheless, he told Emma that he sells dumpsters. And when he said that, she said, for real? For real? You playing? You sell dumpsters? And he was like, yeah, I sell dumpsters. And she's like, okay, well, you know what? Because of you, Connor, we are clean. And Connor's like, are you trying to gas me up? Are you trying to gas me up? And I'm just sitting here like... That girl was so confused by you saying you sell dumpsters because, sir, what does that mean? Do you own the business? Are you walking house to house trying to get people to buy the dumpsters? Like, what is the deal? Nonetheless, these two are having a nice conversation. They start talking about children. They start talking about marriage. Now, remember when I started this video and I said Emma got more connections in a little bit? She does. She does because now she done moved on for Connor and she's talking to Mike. But let me tell you a little backstory about Emma. Emma is 27 years old and she is in retail merchandising. Emma had to go under 10 surgeries because she had birthmarks on her arm where they had to remove them because they could cause, I think it was melanoma. And because of that, she had scars on her arms because she had to get skin grafts and all the things of the things. She really wanted to come in this process so that she could be appreciated for her personality because she said that people would just look at her and stare at her. It was really uncomfortable. So in this space, she is very, very comfortable. And you can tell because she got the connections. The guys is eating it up, okay? Now, she's talking to Mike, and she's telling him how she's been single for a while. And she said that, she just wants to be married. Mike said, I want to be married too. But you want to know what I want a little bit more than marriage? Kids. Now, he didn't say he wanted more, but he definitely wants some kids. So she's like, well, kids change the dynamics in marriages. And he said, yeah, you're right about all that. But I still want some kids. But Emma tells him that she's not 100% a yes on kids, but she's also not a no. I'm going to let y'all know that Emma's leaning way more towards the no side than a yes, and that's for sure. Now, she said that she's more so worried about having kids and scared because she's adopted, and because of that, she doesn't know if it's genetic. She doesn't know if it's anything in her genes that she could pass down to her children, and she wouldn't want them to deal with that in life. Now, she's not ready to disclose this information to anyone because she doesn't want them to start viewing her or judging her or looking at her different. She wants them to really, just like her for her, and she'll let them know when the time is right. Now, Emma is really struggling to understand herself. And you can just tell because even when she talks about the surgeries and how she's adopted and not having kids because of the genetics and stuff like that, she's really, really emotional. And I'm going to jump ahead a little bit with Emma because Emma said later on in this episode how she doesn't want to get to know her family. She's not interested in learning who her family is. And I'm like, are you sure about that? Because it feels like you're holding on to something. The way she talks about it, the way she expresses it, and I'm not saying that she doesn't love the family that she's in. I'm not saying that she doesn't want to be there, but you can tell that she has a lot more questions than answers. And it's really still affecting her even to this day. It's obvious. She can try to act like it doesn't, but it definitely does. So remember when I said that Emma have a lot of connections? Yeah, she got a lot of connections because now she is talking to Steven in the pods. And her and Steven are having a really cool conversation. They're talking about animals. She's saying how she adopted a dog or whatever the case may be. He asked her, hey, you ever thought about adopting children? And I know when he asked her that, a part of her wanted to say, of course, I would love to adopt a child. I'm adopted. But instead of going into the details of it all, she just said, you know, right now my main focus is finding me a partner. My main focus right now is finding me a partner, but I am definitely open to adopting children. Now, Steven said that he feels a lot of guys are just out here like, do you want to have my babies? Do you want to have my babies? Do you want to have my babies? And I'm not going to hold you. A lot of these conversations did sound like, do you want to have my babies? Especially with Emma. It was a main topic amongst her and all her connections, whether or not she want kids, because these men seem to want kids. But something about Steve saying that seemed really, really calculated because it seems like he already knew that that was going to be a question that a lot of men would ask. So he wanted to go a different route. You get what I'm saying? It seemed real calculated, like he's trying to be different. But nonetheless, let's move on. Next, we meet Keya. Keya is 30 and she's a marketing director. She says she is here to find her love, her light, her man, okay? And she's talking to Kevin. Now, her and Kevin are having this conversation about movies, right? And he said his favorite movie is Love and Basketball. I said, that's when you know he was black. Because you know how they always say, if you want to know somebody in the pod's black, you got to ask certain questions. Yeah, his favorite movie being Love and Basketball definitely gave away that he was black. But nonetheless, Keya said, no shade, no shade. I get the nostalgia around it, but that's a bad movie. And I'm like, when you look back at it, it is a bad movie because like, why was she playing for his heart? And then he dunked on her. Like, yeah, it was a bad movie, but at the time, we didn't see it like that. Okay, we was eating it up. We was loving it. And now that most of us have matured and not as male-centered as we were when we were younger, we definitely looked at it like, ew, girl. It's giving pick me. It's giving pick me. But these two are really hitting it off. So as Kevin and Keya are talking, he's telling her how he's been single for over 2 years and how his ex just wasn't his person. But she did teach him a lot. She told him how to have more patience and how to have the tough conversations, even when it's hard. I want to put a pin in that because I feel like you lied, Kevin, because I have watched a couple of these episodes. Y'all don't get in the comments down to spoil it. I'm just saying what I'm saying. You don't know how to have no tough conversations, okay? That's very clear. So you saying that your ex taught you that, it's a lie. It's a lie. But nonetheless, he's telling her how he wants to get married and have some kids. She's sitting there like, shout out to your ex. Shout out to your ex for teaching you patience and teaching you how to get through those tough conversations. And I said, not too fast, Keya. Not too fast, girl. Now, Kevin said that he likes Keya. She's cool. She's like a best friend, but he's looking for a wife. And when he hears Tyler's voice, he gets so excited and he's looking forward to her dates, okay? And I'm not going to lie, you can definitely see the twinkle in his eye when he is talking to Taylor. These two are having a conversation basically about like where would they live, because they live in like 2 different states or whatever. So they're trying to figure out how to navigate that situation. Now here's the thing. Taylor said for her husband, she's willing to relocate. She's willing to drop it all for love. And I'm just sitting here like, I didn't hear Kevin not one time offer. Where's your offer at, sir? You just gonna let her drop all her things and just, move to you? But as she started talking, she talked about how she's very accomplished. She worked so hard to establish herself in the career that she is in, and how, that's a big deal to her. That's one of her biggest accomplishments ever. And she did it being completely herself, not code switching, just showing up as a beautiful black woman in corporate America. Okay? And so I'm sitting here thinking to myself, and you willing to drop all of that for a man? No. No, immediately no. You work too hard to throw that all away for a man. Now, I'm not saying that you can't get another job, but if you work so hard to get to this point where you are successful, you are established, you are accomplished, why would you want to start all over again, girl? Why would you want to do that? Now, she said that her priority right now is love. And for her husband, she's willing to do that. And for Kevin, that's just like music to his ears. And he is just sitting there smiling. You could just see him falling in love. It's all over his face. I said, girl, a man with nothing will help you lose everything. You better not. You better not. So next up, we meet Alex, right? Alex is 30 and he's a soccer coach. He said he doesn't really approach women unless he's attracted to them physically. I said, well, normally that's how that works. I'm not really concerned about that, because when people don't just go up approaching people that they're not attracted to. That don't even make sense, okay? But he says he knows he's probably missed out on a lot of great women because of that. But now he has that chance to give those women a shot. So basically what you're saying is, I guess I could talk to the ugly girls to the wall, and maybe I'll fall in love. This your chance, girl. This your chance. Nonetheless, he's talking to Ashley, and like 2 seconds in, he's already trying to figure out what she looks like. And I'm like, don't start with me today, Alex. Don't piss me off. Now, I gave you a pass when you said that you don't approach women that you're not attracted to, because that just makes sense. But that don't mean come in here trying to figure out what the girls look like when you're supposed to just be giving them a chance, right? Right. But Ashley's like, sir, immediately, no, I'm not giving you no hints about my looks at all. So the best way to move on from that conversation is he wants to bring up sex. We just gonna move straight from the looks department and let's just get sexual with it, okay? She asked him, hey, do you like to kiss? And he said, well, I haven't really had any bad reviews or anything. I like to think that I'm a decent kisser. And she's like, well, I might have to help you out because I'm a great kisser. And now we are talking about spooning, giving massages, how important sex is, and those type of things. Alex and Ashley are starting to flirt, all right? He's telling her that she is dangerous. And when a man says that a girl is dangerous, he is intrigued. That means that, yeah, you got his attention. But my thing is it lust? Is it lust? That's the question. Now, Ashley is 33 and she's a claims supervisor. Ashley told us that her father told her that she has a bad picker. She don't know how to pick them. And she said, I don't care what you say. I'm still ready to be somebody's wife. Now, I know she says she's ready to be somebody's wife, but in the confessional, she said that her and Alex have really good sexual chemistry. And she's ready to test that out. And I'm sitting here like, girl, you supposed to be finding a more intimate connection, not a sexual connection. You're looking for a husband, not a hookup. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. And me and Mike are in the pods talking, right? And she's like, I gotta be honest with you. I wasn't really 100% about you at first, but I'm really starting to like you. She's telling him how she's starting to feel real comfortable with him. And he's like, well, you can say what you want to say. You always been at the top of my list, okay? Mike really likes her. He thinks she's amazing. He thinks she's awesome. But it's the kids thing that he can't wrap his head around. He's struggling with it. And he asked her, he said, why are you struggling with the idea of having children? What is that about? She said that it's really just like an internal battle because she has an amazing family. He makes it a point to keep saying, I don't want to have children immediately, but I definitely want children. And I feel like because Emma is not really ready to open up, she's not making sense to these men. She just keeps saying, I don't want children, but she doesn't really have an answer. And I feel like you don't have to have an answer for not wanting children. You don't. And if the men are going to keep trying to force her to like want to have children, it's not going to work. But he's telling her, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm not trying to force you in any direction. But children are beautiful. Children are a part of you, a part of your partner. They're part of your legacy that you leave behind on this earth. And he's really trying to, pour it into her. And he's telling her how he thinks she would be a great mom. She told him that she appreciated that because it opened her eyes to a different perspective. But she's still not 100% sold on having kids. She doesn't want them. She doesn't want them. There's nothing anyone can say to make that lady want to have some kids. My thing is, Emma, just say, I don't want kids. Forget all the excuses. Forget the I'm 50-50, I'm 70-30. Cut it. You don't want kids. It's obvious. Just say I don't want kids, girl. Just say that. I know you say that it's a fear and you scared, but I honestly feel like you just don't want them because you always got an excuse after excuse after excuse, okay? And Mike is not here for that. He's not here for that at all, okay? And there's no change in Mike's mind about that. Mike is already thinking about if he was to be in a relationship with her, would he have to choose between the love that he had for his wife or the desire that he has for wanting children? I don't think y'all need to continue talking. Y'all might as well go ahead and cut this off because it's very clear that she doesn't want children. And if you get with her to think that you will be able to change her mind, it's not going to work. You're going to be disappointed and you're going to get divorced. So to avoid that, because both of y'all have made it very clear where y'all stand with children right now, y'all should just go ahead and stop talking. But here's the crazy thing. In this conversation that they're having about children, she says that she feels like they've been having real surface conversations. And I'm sitting here like, the conversation that y'all had is a much needed conversation about children. He literally asks you, what are you struggling with when it comes to having children? You don't want to go deep. You don't want to go deep because if you wanted to go deep, you would have told him why you really don't want to have children or why you are scared to have children. But instead, you just, you just saying, oh, I just don't want to have children. It's just an internal battle. That's you not going deep. So to try to put the blame on him was crazy to me, Emma. That's not fair at all. She's talking about how this reminds her of the relationship she had with her ex where he really didn't, get deep unless he was drunk or whatever the case may be. And even then, it was mediocre. And that's when I looked at Emma like, are you being for real? Are you really trying to tell this man that he's not going deep? And the conversations are mediocre and it reminds you of your ex. When you're the one who's holding back the information, you're the one not being honest, you're the one not opening up. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. She tells him that she feels like they both are scared to open up. So then why would you just tell him that he's the one not going deep? So why would you say that? So she tells him that she's scared to open up because the people that she have opened up to before would leave her. And that's understandable. But don't sit there and tell somebody else that the conversations are surface and they not going deep when you're also not going deep. Emma, don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. And he tells her like, look, I'm not going to run. I'm not going to leave. I'm never going to abandon you. And I'm like, I ain't going to hold you, Mike. At this point, you might need to abandon her. Y'all don't align. You can't force it. You can't make it happen. And at this point, I don't see these two working out at all. Plus, Emma is in a square. She's not even a triangle. She's in a square. She's here and she has Mike, Connor, and Steven. They're in a square, okay? Because now she's talking to Steven. And she's telling him how she feels like he's not serious enough, okay? Because he jokes a lot. And she wants to go deep. And she wants to be vulnerable. And I'm like, are you going to be deep and vulnerable? Or are you just expecting that from him? Because I'm tired of her requesting for these men to go deep while she sits there and stays surface. Make it make sense, Emma. Make it make sense. Steven's like, oh, I can go deep. I can go deep. I got a sad playlist. I got a sad playlist. I'm like, what does being sad have to go deep? Why going deep got to be traumatic all the time? Why it got to be traumatic all the time? Like, sir, excuse me. But he did tell her, listen, I have no problem with opening up. But are you going to be able to open up and go deep as well? Clock it. Clock it. Even though I don't like Steven, definitely clock it because, yeah, you want these men to do it, but you're not willing to do it yourself. So now we get to Vic, and Vic has set up a nice dinner date for Christine. Apparently, these two have fell in love. These two are talking about going to Mexico, how they can't wait to have tequila, coffee, and all the things of the things. And I'm sitting here like, wait, time out. When did this happen? When did this happen? These two are sitting there, I mean, in love, in love. She's telling him about the relationship that she had with her mom and how traumatic it was. The relationship she has with her father and how he had pills in the car and she had to hold them when they got pulled over by the cops. I mean, these two are really like giving it everything. He's telling her how his stepfather abused his mom and his sister had to check him and how he felt weak at that time because he was supposed to be a man, but he wasn't a man. He was just a boy. You know, he was a man in the house because he was the only boy, but he was just a boy and he could handle it. They done both been arrested for misdemeanors for having weed on them. Like, child, when I tell you that these two were just sitting there like they were the same person, and I was just loving every last bit of it. I don't know how we got here. But when I tell you that I am here for it, I am here for it. He sat there and he wrote her a beautiful, beautiful letter, and he read it, and he's emotional, she's emotional, and everything is great. And I love to see it, and I'm rooting for them. I am 100% rooting for Christine and Vic. After that, y'all sold me. Y'all definitely sold me. So now we're moving on from this really, really high of love and admiration to whatever Steven and Emma got going on. Child, let's go ahead and get into it. So now these two have decided that they are going to go deep, right? They're finally going to open up, be vulnerable with each other. She's finally ready to open up and tell her story. She tells him about her adoption. She tells him about the surgeries and all the things of the things. And he was like, oh, so why you didn't mention anything about the adoption yesterday? That was the perfect time to, bring it up. And she was like, no, it wasn't the best time because I don't want it to be like a fun fact. Like, my parents, my family, those are my parents. That's my family. And I don't feel like I need to figure out where I came from. And I'm sitting here like, I don't know if that's true, Emma, because you say that you don't want children because you don't know where you came from. So shouldn't you be interested in at least learning where you came from? So he's like, so obviously there's something that you don't want to tell me that has to do with your identity that you're not ready to share yet. And so she's like a little taken back because she's like, are you trying to figure out my appearance? And he's like, no, I'm really fully just trying to get to know you, okay? So then he was like, oh, so you want to adopt kids because you were adopted, right? Why does it feel like you're trying to hide things? And I said, how is she trying to hide it if she's telling you now? She just wasn't ready to tell you, Steven. That's the whole purpose of going deep. That's the whole purpose of this conversation. I'm going to need you to think about what you said. Because it's not like she's hiding things. The whole purpose of y'all having this conversation to go deep was so that y'all can have this conversation and she can tell you these things. But the questions that you were asking her is really coming off like aggressive a little bit, because first it was, oh, so it has something to do with your appearance, why you didn't bring it up yesterday, and now it's you're trying to hide things. Yeah, it's getting real awkward up in here. I'm not gonna hold you, it's getting real awkward up in here. So she's like, it's not about none of that. I just don't want this to be a physical thing. She talks about the surgeries that she had on her arms, how that affected her dating, how she doesn't want it to be about that. She wanted to be mainly about who she is as a person. And you can just tell that the tension in the room is getting thick. Okay? And Steven identified that the tension in the room is getting thick and that she no longer wants to have this conversation. And I feel like, yeah, I wouldn't want to have the conversation anymore either, because he didn't have any compassion. He wasn't empathetic. And I'm not saying that he needs to sit there and cry her a river, but it's like, it was just like, oh, okay, whatever. And this is why you didn't tell me? And that's why you want to adopt kids? It was like, okay, you know what? Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have disclosed this information to you. But he decides that it's time to shift the conversation because she's sad. You want me to help bring you out of this funk? And so she's like, yeah. And to bring her out of the funk, he decides to ask her about her first kiss and when she lost her virginity. She told him she lost her virginity in high school. He's like, oh, so you a late bloomer like me? She doesn't like that. Don't call me a late bloomer. Everybody has their own journey. She doesn't like the fact that, she doesn't like the fact that he's like pressuring her about a kiss. And she's like, listen, none of this stuff was special to me. I didn't feel like the men actually liked me. I didn't feel like the men actually wanted me. And he is literally bypassing all the things that she is saying. Because if someone tells you like, I don't have special moments. Losing my virginity wasn't special. My first kiss wasn't special. And after she said all of that, you still can't understand that she's still going deep. It's like it wasn't clicking to him. It wasn't clicking to him because he's still like, you wanted to go deep, but I don't feel like you're going deep. She's literally telling you how she has no special moments in her life. The guys that she shared those moments with that was supposed to be special didn't really like her, didn't really want her for real. Like, there's depth to that. Like, at this point, I would be like, so how's your confidence? Are you confident in yourself now? Did that take a toll on you? Do you feel like you're worthy? Like, come on. I need you to step into it. But no. Then he starts talking about the Notebook. And he's talking about how she needs to watch the Notebook. She's aggravated. She said, I don't want to watch no Notebook. You don't need to tell me what I need to watch. He's like, no. You never seen the scene when they was on the floor and they was just like having their way. And it's like she couldn't deny him. She couldn't deny him. Have you ever watched the Notebook? Those two characters were in love. They were all over each other like white on rice. Nothing about the way that they carried in that scene which she had wanted to deny him. He wasn't trying to coerce her. He wasn't trying to talk her into it. They were both down for the get down. So for you to say like, she couldn't deny it. Well, neither could he. I don't know. Steven, I try to give you the benefit of the doubt when it comes to these allegations, but some of the things that you said in this conversation was a little shaky to me. The simple fact that in order to bring her out of this funk, you decided to ask her about losing her virginity, and you decided to ask her about her first kiss was very, very much so weird. I'm not saying that y'all shouldn't have those conversations, right? But what I'm saying is there's a time and a place for everything. And the time is not when she's going deep about being adopted, having surgeries, scars on her arms, uncomfortable dating, not knowing her genes, scared to have children. I just don't understand how losing her virginity and her first kiss was supposed to, make her forget about the conversation that y'all was having. Because it literally just made everything worse. She said, let me tell you something. I don't think this gonna work. I don't think this gonna work. So we should just cut this off now. We really should just like leave it where it's at. And he was like, yeah. I was thinking that. And I'm just saying here like, yeah, I'm glad they did that now because I don't want to see Steven anymore. And I'm glad that we won't be seeing Steven anymore. Okay. So now she goes into the ladies' quarter and she's really emotional because she's saying how she was opening up to him and being vulnerable. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, right? When Emma went back in there and she was like, crying about how she was opening up and being vulnerable and how she felt like he was gaslighting her, I was sitting here like, girl, it's not that serious. It's not that serious. But while I'm doing this review and I'm thinking about the conversation and how the conversation went, yeah, he was out of line. The things that she was talking about, the emotions that she was expressing, it's like he had no compassion, no empathy, no sense of understanding. Instead of saying, oh my goodness, how did you navigate the world? How do you feel about your self-down? Are you still insecure about your scars? He decided to just say, why you didn't bring it up yesterday? You had the perfect time to bring it up yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, it was just really weird. Really, really weird conversation. And then to go from something so, like, intense to, like, tell me about your first kiss. Tell me about you losing your virginity. And then to tell her that she's not going deep because she's not giving you all these details that you're looking for about her sex life and her intimate moments. Because for her, they weren't even special. She felt like the guys didn't care for her. She felt like the guys didn't like her. And for you, it's just like, oh, well, you're not giving me enough details. You're not really going deep. Yeah, he kind of gaslit her. I ain't gonna hold you. I was a little confused at first, but now I get it. I totally get it. I totally get it. So then we cut back over to Vince and Christine, and we get to go back on this high again. because these two are in love. And like I said, I don't know how we got here, but I love it. They both seem very genuine. They both seem like they care for each other. The fact that she wrote him a prayer, he stood, they prayed, and then he proposed to her on one knee. Baby, when I tell you, all the things, I felt all the things. I was here for all of it. I ain't gonna hold you. I loved every last bit of that scene with Christine and Vic. I cannot wait to see if we gonna get some real love from these two. I really can't. And I'm trying not to let the trauma that I have with reality TV and Love is Blind take over my mind. Because whenever anything is too good, it always turns bad. So I'm praying, fingers crossed, that this don't turn bad. Because they owe us a love story at this point. They owe us one. Anyway, y'all, that was the first episode of Love is Blind. We're going to do episode 2 later because I don't want this video to be super, super long, okay? I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. We are in for a ride, so go ahead, strap up, and get ready. With all that being said, leave your comments down below, like the video, hype it up if you got some hypes left, okay? Use one on me, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. With all that being said, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.